Postgraduate Department of Commerce of Christodi College of Management and Technology. Christodi College is always interested in imparting knowledge. As we all know, data analysis take raw data and turn it into meaningful insights that can be used for effective decision making. It is very important to understand various tools and techniques for data analysis. That is why we are discussing this relevant topic today. Before starting, I am wishing you all the very best and please make use of this wonderful opportunity. Prayer is the opening of the heart to God. Now I invite Department Choir to invoke the blessings of God Almighty.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भो मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे।
Mr. Shihabuddin M., faculty member, Postgraduate Department of Commerce, is an immense and incredible personality. He is a teacher, always supports and guides his students in the right path. With all respect and love, I invite you, sir, to deliver the welcome speech. Sir, please.
Very good evening to one and all. So happy to see you all on the fourth day of this academic initiative of Postgraduate Department of Commerce in association with ICAI Kottayam and IQSC. So, moving to my duty. First of all, I would like to welcome our respected principal, Reverend Father Joshi Chirangudi Siamai, the man behind all our endeavors. Welcome you, Father. Welcoming the most respected resource person of the day, Dr. Anthony Joseph K., Associate Professor of St. Bergman's College and President, Indian Accounting Association, Alapi Chapter. We are so happy you as our resource person of the day. So, with due honor, I welcome you, sir, to this gathering. I would also like to welcome to this gathering Dr. Vagis Anthony, Vice Principal of our institution, as well as HOD of Postgraduate Department of Commerce. Dr. Matthew Emmanuel, Advisory Board Member, Dr. Anu Anthony, IQSC and NAC Coordinator, as well as PG Course Coordinator. Welcome you all. Welcoming all faculties of our institution and all other faculties from different parts of our nation who supported and presence is more valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of welcome. And we are inviting you to this national webinar. Welcome, sir. Dr. Anthony Joseph K. He is currently working as Associate Professor in Commerce at St. Bergman's College, Changanasheri. He is the President of Indian Accounting Association Alapura Chapter. He completed his MPhil degree from University of Kerala. He is a PhD holder from MT University. He successfully guided more than 10 MPhil projects. He published more than 20 research articles in national and international journals. These are all his achievement and educational qualification. Especially for Christodi College, Anthony sir always supported our college and our new initiatives. In our national paper presentation competition also, he acted as a moderator. So, sir, thank you so much for all the help, for all the support, and all the services that you are rendering for us. With all respect, I invite you, sir, to lead the session. Sir, please. No, sir, you're not audible, sir.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening to one and all. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers of this program, especially a principal of Christi Jyoti College of Management and Technology, Father Joshi Chiramkuri, my own teacher working there, Dr. Jain, my friends Shihab, Anu Anthony, and the secretary of the Indian Accounting Association, Alappuzha chapter, Dr. Vinith. Because the organizers have given a wonderful opportunity to me to speak to a large audience across from different parts of India. So naturally, it is a kind of blessings by Christi Jyoti College of Management and Technology to me. I'm basically a teacher, always interested in speaking to people across India. And I consider this as a great honor because I got opportunity to speak in a series where my two mentors have already talked. Dr. S. Kevin, who guided my MPhil thesis in the year 1994. For me, Dr. S. Kevin is my guru, my mentor. He has supported me and freedom to seek and find new things. Okay, let me come to the point. The topic assigned is tools and techniques for data analysis. I know people from different parts of India are listening to me. It is a very, very difficult task for a teacher to tell something about data analysis tools without having some proper examples. It is my way of teaching to teach statistical tools and techniques with the help of some real research works. So I would like to present before you a research work which is done by me and a student of mine, which is under review by a decent international journal. The topic is Reverse FinTech Socialization, a remedy for financial exclusion in the digital era. So naturally arises a question, what is being studied here? What is the content here? And is the study related to the life of human beings, or is it a study related to the academia alone? Some studies are based on theories related to academics, and some are so closely related to the life of human beings. The question is whether this study is related to the life of human beings. So naturally, if you want to know exactly whether this is having some sort of interest to common man, we should have a clear understanding about exactly what is reverse fintech socialization. So again, we need more and more explanations for understanding or for arriving at reverse fintech socialization. So naturally arises a question, what is this financial socialization? My dear friends, in your childhood, your parents might have told you several things regarding money. That is how to spend money, how to deposit money with a bank, how to buy commodities from a shop and settle the account, and what are the things to be taken into account while spending money, and what is the need of savings. This is a kind of financial socialization. That is, passing of the knowledge to other generation is technically, or to other people, is technically referred to as socialization. When it is related to finance, we call it as financial socialization. It is a responsibility of all people to teach their children how to spend money, what is the importance of money, what is the need of savings, and how to deal with a bank, and so on. We call this as financial socialization. So then arises a question of, or an issue of, reverse fintech socialization. What is this reverse fintech socialization? There is a concept called reverse socialization. In case of financial socialization, elders teach the youngsters, that is, parents teach their children about finance. Teachers teach the students about finance. The society teach people about finance, and so on. That is what financial socialization. When this process takes in a reverse mode, that is, the youngsters teach the elders about financial matters, we call it as reverse financial socialization. That is, a young boy of 15 or 16 years teach his mother or father about the use of ATM, use of debit card, how to use the money, how to save money in modern avenues. We call it as reverse socialization. So naturally, reverse fintech socialization. It's an interesting concept. Fintech simply refers to the technology related to finance. In a broader sense, fintech refers to all those technologies that enable people to use different financial services electronically. So naturally, purchasing some commodities by using online banking or using debit card or using different wallets, these are actually fintech. There are so many service providers in this market. So what is this reverse fintech socialization? You may be knowing, youngsters listening to me may be teaching their parents how to use mobile phones, how to use computers, and how to use different wallets for financial services of their parents. Youngsters are teaching the parents how to use fintech services. This is really happening. Especially in a country like India, this is at most important because we are actually faced with the problem of pandemic. We can't travel from one place to another for doing some financial transactions. At the same time, we are moving toward a digital era. Financial sector is being digitized. The government is planning 100% digitization. So who knows actually this fintech youngsters know much better than the elders. So it is the responsibility of the youngsters to teach their elders in using the fintech services. So our aim is to identify whether this fintech reverse socialization is influencing the confidence of mothers. Actually, the sample size, we have collected a sample. More than 350 samples have been collected. And the sample consists of a sample unit consists of a mother and a child. A mother and a child is considered as a sample unit. Like that, we have collected more than 350 samples. The study is whether these children are actually teaching their mothers about the fintech services, and their involvement enhances the confidence of mothers in using these fintech services. That is the primary issue. Okay. The researchers actually proposed reverse fintech socialization can influence the level of financial inclusion in the digital era. When confidence is improved, mothers will be able to deal with the digital financial services market so that they will not be excluded from financial sector or the financial market, especially in a digital era. So how can we expect this? That is the question. That's the research question. Reverse fintech socialization can influence the ease of use of technology and can influence the confidence of mothers to use fintech services. That is the belief of the researchers. Reverse fintech socialization can influence the ease of use of technology. And it definitely will, and in turn, it will definitely influence or influence the confidence of mothers to use fintech services. That is the research proposition. Now the question is the effect of reverse fintech socialization equal among all mothers? Our finding is no. So naturally arises another question, why? The inequality of reverse fintech socialization arises because of so many factors. We have identified some variables which can influence the effect of reverse fintech socialization. They are actually age of mothers, age of children, and very importantly, attitude of mother towards technology. And another very, very interesting point is mother's trust on child in disclosing financial matters. That's also important. We have identified that these are very, very important. In the reverse fintech socialization among mothers, how far mothers achieve reverse or take advantage of reverse fintech socialization. That is being influenced by these factors. So the question is, another question before the researchers is the confidence of mothers to use the fintech facilities equal among mothers. Confidence, whether confidence is equal. Last question was whether fintech socialization was equal. Now, whether the fintech, the confidence is equal. Confidence to use. Again, the same answer, no. Mothers do have different levels of confidence. So again, a researcher asked a question, why? Because of unequal effect of reverse fintech socialization and attitude of mothers towards technology are actually influencing their confidence. The effect of reverse fintech socialization differs among mothers, and their attitude towards technology also varies. So naturally, the confidence, level of confidence varies. Okay. You may think that why I'm telling all these, because simply by telling you the statistics will not give a clue. You will not understand exactly what the statistics is being, for what purpose this is being applied. So my dear students, my dear listeners, not students, listeners, see, this is the research model proposed to my student. This is not made by me. I have explained the concept, and he has actually made this research model. Okay, you can see reverse the fintech confidence here. Confidence in fintech. This is the most important variable. This is being influenced by attitude towards fintech and reverse fintech socialization. Confidence is being influenced by, or confidence actually depends on attitude towards fintech and reverse fintech socialization. At the same time, you can see a connection between these, that is attitude towards fintech and reverse fintech socialization. Okay, that also can influence, that is attitude can also influence reverse fintech socialization. At the same time, age of mother can influence confidence and attitude. Income of the family, who is actually the income earner, whether the husband alone is earning income, whether wife alone is, or the mother alone is earning income, or both of them are earning income. That is what is known as the income earner. Who is the income earner? These also can influence reverse fintech socialization, because the usage of financial technology actually depends on the amount available for spending. And frequency of usage can influence the reverse fintech socialization. At the same time, age of child, age of mother, all these can influence reverse fintech socialization. A good researcher must propose a model, not exactly like this. This is a model made in a hurry, because we want to submit the article before the publishers within the cutoff date. Okay, whatever it be, you have to have a research model explaining the relationship between all variables. Okay, so now we are moving on to the hypothesis. What hypothesis we have? One hypothesis is, or whatever be, you might have heard about, you might have listened to the class regarding how to set hypothesis and test it. You please remember, my hypothesis is actually alternative hypothesis. I'm not telling you anything about null hypothesis. Okay, my hypothesis, first hypothesis is age of mother is significant in their attitude to fintech confidence in fintech. Age of mother is significant in their attitude to fintech and confidence in fintech. These are two different variables here. One is attitude to fintech and confidence in fintech. Actually, this kind of a hypothesis is made only when you become a practitioner, when you make articles, you write articles for high-end journals, because actually this is not a single hypothesis. This is two hypotheses actually merged together. We are testing two things, that is the fintech based on age, attitude to fintech based on age, and confidence in fintech based on age. Okay. And another hypothesis is income of the family and income earner in the family are significant in mother's attitude to fintech, confidence in fintech, and reverse fintech socialization. Okay. It's a very nice hypothesis. And third is age of mother and age of child are significant in the reverse fintech socialization happening to the mother. Then mother's attitude to fintech has a positive influence on reverse fintech socialization and their confidence in fintech. And reverse fintech socialization has a positive influence on mother's confidence to deal in fintech. 5 hypotheses I am sharing with you. We will take one by one and tell what kind of analysis statistical tools are being used for analysis. That is my idea. That's why I told you the theme of the study. Okay. Whenever we want to test a hypothesis or to do a statistical operation, the basic question to be borne in mind is, what the researcher want to establish? If you are the researcher, what do you want to establish? That is the primary question. Are you trying to establish dependence of a particular variable on the other? Or are you trying to test the significance in the mean difference? Or are you trying to establish association between attributes? Or are you trying to establish a relationship between two or more variables?
Excuse me, sir. Can I interfere?
Yeah.
Sir, your PPT is not visible actually.
Huh?
Your PPT is not visible to the YouTube, those who are watching the YouTube. So can you please adjust it to the entire screen, sir? Can you please maximize it?
It is adjusted to the entire screen.
Okay, let me check once more. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Is it visible to the Google other side?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Then it is technical issue. You deal with that. Okay. These are the things actually encountered by the researchers. That is dependence, association, relationship, mean difference, and so on. So, whatever be the test you are actually planning to do, you have to go for a normality check. You want to ensure that the data with you is normal. Suppose if you, while testing your data, you found that your data is normal, perfectly normal, then you can go for a parametric test. And if the data is not normal, that is non-normal, you have to go for non-parametric test. This is the basic condition to be satisfied. Always you remember whether the data is normal or non-normal. If it is normal, you have to go for parametric test. And when it is not normal, you have to adopt only non-parametric test. Okay. See, I have given 2 examples. Why 2 examples is because researchers are actually committing serious mistakes in this area. The first one, actually, normality test is done with the help of one sample chaos test. one sample KS test is used for testing normality of the data. Okay, at the time of checking the result of the normality test, you have to check the asymptotic significance. You can see here this asymptotic significance. Here asymptotic significance is 0.808. Here asymptotic significance is 0.000. Okay, if you are familiar with the testing of hypothesis with the help of statistical softwares, normally we feel that, or normally we interpret that when the significance value is less than 0.05, not in case of normality test, but in other tests, when the significance value is not exceeding 0.05, the null hypothesis is significant. That is, we accept. We fail to reject the null hypothesis. We fail to reject null hypothesis when it is less than 0.05. But in this test, it is on reverse mode. You see, this test distribution is normal. This is actually the null hypothesis. This is not fixed by me. This is as per the software. This is as per the guidelines of the people who have actually designed this test. This one sample case test says that its null hypothesis is the test distribution is normal. Test distribution is normal is the null hypothesis. If this is the hypothesis and the significance value is 0.808, that means it is greater than 0.05. What will be the interpretation? The significance value is greater than 0.05 means the rule is same. When it is less than 0.05 or not exceeding 0.05, we say that the null hypothesis is rejected. But in this case, this is being accepted. You always remember, while doing one sample KS test, when the significance value is greater than 0.05, the null hypothesis is rejected. So null hypothesis is here, the test distribution is normal. When it is more than 0.05, the null hypothesis becomes true and the data is normal. But on the other hand, when the significance value is less than 0.05 or up to 0.05, we can't say that the distribution is actually normal. So you understand the fact that the significance value, when the significance value is greater than 0.05, there is no reason to reject the null hypothesis. So the null hypothesis here, that is test distribution is normal, is being accepted. Otherwise, it is actually rejected. Please don't commit mistake. We can see several papers with significance value 000 saying that the distribution is normal. Whatever be the result, you can see the same thing here. Test distribution is normal. That is the null hypothesis. You can see normal parameters. The distribution is, this says that the distribution is normal with mean 5.6264. Okay. Okay. Suppose if you want to test the mean difference. In statistics, we are encountered with problems related to mean. And in order to test the mean differences, there are different methods. Some are parametric tools and some others are non-parametric tools. So let me say something about the parametric test, one sample t-test. So the issue here is one sample t-test is a parametric test and binomial test of equality is a non-parametric test. If you want to test the mean difference of a particular population or a particular sample, then if your data is normal, you can go for one sample t-test, which is a parametric test. And if the data with you is not normal, then you have to take a binomial test of equality, which is considered as a non-parametric test. Okay. And another one is, I am not actually explaining one sample t-test in detail because it has very, very limited applications in researches, especially in social science. Now, independent sample t-test. Here we need some more explanation because this has more use. So first of all, we have to learn exactly what is the purpose. The purpose is to see, the purpose of independent sample t-test is to see whether there is a statistical evidence for two population or two subsample means differ significantly. Say for example, take my own example. I have selected a mother and a child. Child may be a boy or a girl. And we have computed values for fintech reverse socialization. We can test whether the fintech reverse socialization happening to the mothers differ on the basis of the gender of the child. Differ on the basis of the gender of the child. Then we can go for independent sample t-test, provided the data is normal. Okay, the purpose is to see whether the subsample differ significantly in a particular aspect. I definitely will show the details. For this test, we have we want to have a dependent variable and an independent variable. We need a dependent variable and an independent variable. The independent variable is nominal in nature or a categorical variable. Say, for example, I have already told you gender of the children, boy and girl. We classify them into 1 and 2 simply without considering the value of these numerical values. This is only, we are only categorizing them into boys and girls. That's all. So we need, for testing for doing an independent sample t-test, we need one dependent variable that should be a scale variable, and the other one is a nominal variable. That's important. Some conditions are to be satisfied. The distribution of the dependent variable should be normal. I have already told you. And the variances are approximately equal. Variances are approximately equal. These two, when these two conditions are satisfied, you have to adopt independent sample t-test. Okay, for example, I have already told you this example. Gender of the child has no effect on reverse fintech socialization. Gender of the child has no effect on reverse fintech socialization. So what is here? What is the dependent variable here? What is independent variable? That is important. The dependent variable here is fintech socialization, reverse fintech socialization. And the independent variable is gender of the child. That is, children are classified into boys and girls. Okay, I have actually tested the data with me, and the data shows that there were 178 girls and 171 boys. That is what is N stands for. And the average fintech socialization, that is actually quantified on a 5-point scale. Fintech socialization is quantified on a 5-point scale using a specific scale designed for that, approving or satisfying all the requirements, that is reliability, validation conditions are satisfied. In case of girls, the girl children, the average fintech socialization is 3.3531. And the boys, in case of boys, it is 3.36. Actually, reverse fintech socialization is not happening to the children, but it is happening to the mothers. That is, girls are able to provide reverse fintech socialization to the extent of 3.35 on a scale of 5. But boys are able to give 3.36 on the same scale. Boys are slightly better by looking at this particular mean values. But we can't believe it. We can't believe it because the standard deviations differs. In case of girls, standard deviation is 0.82, and in case of boys, it is 0.80. Means standard deviation in case of girls is comparatively higher. So we can't simply say that boys are better, because mean is better in case of boys and the standard deviation is higher in case of girls. So we need to test. Since the independent variable, that is gender of the child, is divided into 2, we have to go for independent sample t-test. That is the principle. You remember, when the independent variable is classified into 2 categories. Here, girl or boy. Sometimes it may be husband and wife, and so on. When the independent variable is classified into 2 categories, and if you want to test the difference between difference in a particular phenomenon, measured phenomenon, then you have to go for independent sample t-test. Okay, the result is consolidated here. Actually, the test result is a big table, but I have consolidated it. The t-value is found to be minus 0.108, which is very, very little, with a degrees of freedom of 347. Boys and girls differ with respect to reverse fintech socialization. That may be another way of writing this hypothesis. Whatever be, I'm standing with my hypothesis, that is, gender of the child has no effect on reverse fintech socialization. And since the significance value is greater than 0.05, we are not able to reject this particular null hypothesis. We will be able to reject this null hypothesis only when the significance value is up to 0.05. Otherwise, we can't reject that. So whatever be the gender of the child, it means boys and girls are equally helping their mothers in respect of reverse fintech socialization, or boys and girls are equally helping their mothers to learn the financial technologies. That is the interpretation. Okay, so we are moving on, because I have to speak about a lot of things. Suppose if the variable reverse fintech socialization is not normal, you have to go for Mann-Whitney U-test. Simply adopt that. The hypothesis will be same. Once the t-test and the independent sample t-test, and in case of Mann-Whitney U-test, there is no difference in the hypothesis, but the test procedure is different. It is a non-parametric test. Okay. Now see, another hypothesis. Age of the mother is significant in their attitude to fintech. We are testing attitude of intellect with age of the mother. Okay. Now I would like to tell something about analysis of variance, because analysis of variance is a procedure for testing difference between three or more means. Difference between three or more means. You remember age of the mother. It can be recorded in a system or in software in different ways. You can directly enter the original age, that is 30, 32, 35, and so on. So if there are 350 samples, there will be 350 numbers. On the other hand, you can classify them. That is, mothers from 25 to 40, 41 to 50, 50 and above, and so on. That means we can classify mothers on the basis of age into three or four groups or 5 groups, depending on the requirement. You can classify them into convenient groups. Suppose if I am classifying mothers into 3 different categories, I will have 3 different mean values. So for example, mothers up to the age of 40, we will have a mean value for attitude. Mothers from 41 to 50 will have another mean value. And then mothers with age above 50 will have another. So we have 3 different mean values or 3 different groups, and we want to test whether the averages differ significantly. So analysis of variance is a procedure for testing difference between 3 or more variables when there are only 2 subsamples, that is boy and girl. Here we have mothers up to the age of 40, 41 to 50, above 50, and so on. Sometimes there may be 3 groups, sometimes there may be 4 groups, and so on. You have to, when the classification is exceeding 2, and if you want to test the difference between means, you have to adopt analysis of variance. Okay, if you are doing analysis of variance, definitely you have to go for a post hoc analysis also. Post hoc analysis is also very, very important. Okay. See, this is an example for an ANOVA table. Those who have studied analysis of variance will definitely catch up it easily. See, whenever you see an analysis of variance table, first of all, you have to look at the significance value. See this, significance value is 0.027. This 0.027 is not exceeding 0.05. That is the benchmark. Are you able to see now? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is once again, I would like to tell you. And now I would like to tell you once again. The hypothesis is age of the mother is significant in their attitude to fintech. I have already told you. Age of the mother is classified into 3 or 4 classes, like up to 40, 41 to 50, above 50, and so on. So you will get mean value of the attitude of mothers up to the age of 40, 41 to 50, and above 50. So now you have 3 mean values here. When there are more than 2 mean values, independent sample t-test cannot be applied. So you have to look for some other testing procedure. Under such a circumstance, the testing procedure is analysis of variance, very popularly known as ANOVA. When you are doing an ANOVA, you have to go for a post hoc analysis also, because ANOVA table will tell you that at least one pair differ significantly. The mean values of at least one pair differ significantly. See the ANOVA table. This is the data taken from the original database. First of all, a researcher is expected to look at the significance values. The significance value here is 0.027. I have already told you, when significance value is not exceeding 0.05, the null hypothesis is rejected. Null hypothesis is rejected. What was our null hypothesis? Age of mother is a significant factor. That is alternative hypothesis. This is actually an alternative hypothesis, significant factor. We believe that age has an impact on the attitude, or attitude differs on the basis of age. Attitude differs on the basis of age. We simply hypothesize that there is no significant difference in the attitude of mothers based on their age. That is being actually rejected. That means age is having a significant impact on the attitude of mothers. That simply means mothers belonging to different age classes have different levels of attitude towards technology or attitude towards fintech. That's what we are actually studying. Okay. Suppose if your data is not suitable or not normal, you have to go for Kruskal-Wallis test, an alternative to analysis of variance. If you are adopting Kruskal-Wallis test, it is applied on the basis of some assumptions that samples are drawn on random, and the data are measured at least by ordinal level. That means the nominal data cannot be used for Kruskal-Wallis test. That is the dependent. We are speaking about the dependent variable. The dependent variable should be either scale data or ordinal data. Can't be nominal data. That is important. That's very, very important. And the distributions should be identically shaped. Means the variance should be similar. Okay, going on to another hypothesis. Age of the mother and age of the child are significant in the reverse fintech socialization happening to the mother. Age of the mother and age of the child. Two things are here. Are significant in reverse fintech socialization happening to mother. While testing ANOVA, we had only one independent variable and one dependent variable. Now we have two independent variables. That is, one is age of mother and other is age of child. So naturally, the question is how to proceed with that. When this is the case, when we have more than two independent variables and one dependent variable, how to proceed? We have two alternatives. One is you have to do two independent ANOVA, one-way ANOVA, or you have to resort two-way analysis of variance, which is very popularly known as factorial ANOVA. Two-way ANOVA or factorial ANOVA. Okay. So naturally, the question is, what is the utility? This actually permits the effect of independent variables on the dependent variables, otherwise known as main effects. Two-way ANOVA actually enables us to generate or to understand the effect of independent variables on dependent variables, which is technically known as main effects. Actually, you always remember a two-way ANOVA is almost equivalent to a regression. Please remember, a two-way ANOVA is almost equivalent to a regression. But here, we are actually applying two independent variables, and both of the independent variables are actually nominal variables. Under such a circumstance, we can't go for a linear regression analysis. But here, similar results will be available when you run a two-way analysis of variance. Okay, it enables the research to identify the interaction effect. Interaction effect means the effect of age of mother and age of child, both. Effect of both age of mother and age of child can be on the reverse fintech socialization can be generated. If you are running a one-way ANOVA, you will be able to study or to generate the effect of each independent variable separately. The joint effect cannot be generated using one-way ANOVA. But if you are doing a two-way ANOVA, you will be able to identify the interaction effect of two independent variables on the dependent variable. That is the greatest advantage of two-way ANOVA. It is almost, I have already told you, it is almost equivalent to a regression. Okay, let's see. Let's see. This is the test result of two-way analysis of variance. You can see the important tables are colored. You look at the colored tables. I hope you can see. M age simply refers to age of mother, and C age means child age. And M age into C age refers to the interaction effect of mother's age and child's age. The most important thing here is the significance value. You look at the significance values. You look at the significance values. First case, mother's age significance value is 0.560. That is greater than 0.05. The child age also, significance value of child age also is greater than 0.05. The interaction effect, that is the age of mother as well as child, this is also significant. This is also more than 0.05. That means, what does it mean? One by one, you take one by one. Whether the average dependent variable, average score of the dependent variable is important according to mother's age, or whether the dependent variable that is here, what is the dependent variable here? The dependent variable in our example is reverse fintech socialization. Okay, reverse fintech socialization. Reverse fintech socialization. This value is greater than 0.05. That means a mother's age is not a significant factor influencing the reverse fintech socialization. Mother's age is not a significant factor influencing the reverse fintech socialization. And similarly, child's age is also not a significant factor. Child's age is not a significant factor. And age of both mother and child are also not important. Actually, we have expected a reverse outcome, an opposite outcome. At the time of doing research, we have actually expected an outcome which is totally different from this. But this is also a very important finding. Why? Because theoretically, we know that when mother is older, the chance of happening reverse fintech socialization or the chance of learning technology for dealing with money is less. That is the kind of belief I had. I primarily had the belief that the readiness or the learning taken place in case of mothers depends on their age. Old mothers have a little or comparatively lower level of fintech learning. That was my belief. But here it says mother's age is not a factor. Another thing is child's age. You may ask me why child's age is put here. What is the importance? See, while the money of the family. So in that case, child's age can have an impact on the reverse fintech socialization. What I expected was young children are actually not, young children means not very little children, kids, 12 years, teenagers, you remember. Parents usually will hesitate to disclose every financial matter before the teenagers. So naturally, when in case of a grown-up child, 20 years or 21 or 23 years, they actually matured. They may be giving better support to mothers. That was my belief. But it is the hypothesis is rejected. That means mother's age, child's age, and both together do not have any impact on the fintech socialization happening to mothers. Okay, this is found to be a good finding for my study. Okay, now again mother's attitude to fintech has a positive influence on reverse fintech socialization. Mother's attitude to fintech has a positive influence. You please note down the usage of the term influence. So mother's attitude to fintech has a positive influence on reverse fintech socialization and their confidence in fintech. So we have two different dependent variables here. Two different dependent variables here. That is, what is this? What is the independent variable? Independent variable here is mother's attitude. We propose that mother's attitude has an influence on mother's fintech socialization, reverse fintech socialization, and mother's attitude have an influence on their confidence in fintech. Another hypothesis is reverse fintech socialization and attitude towards technology has a positive influence on mother's confidence to deal in fintech. Another hypothesis, So here is reverse fintech socialization and attitude towards technology are two independent variables, and mother's confidence become a dependent variable. So one dependent variable and two independent variables. Here we have two dependent variables and one independent variable. Actually, we don't have a test for testing the influence of one independent variable on more than two dependent variables in a normal case. So if you want to test the first hypothesis, you have to do two different tests. So whatever it be, we have to see what kind of a statistical tool can be used by a researcher for this. You remember, regression analysis is the answer to this question. Whenever you want to find the influence of an independent variable on dependent variable, or when you want to test the influence of more than one independent variables on a dependent variable, you have to adopt regression analysis. Okay, that is very, very important. Very, very important. Regression analysis is used for the testing the causation or for prediction. So the objective of regression analysis is to predict the dependent variable. We want to establish the causation. When there is only one independent variable and one dependent variable, the regression is said to be simple regression. Remember, when there is only one independent variable and one dependent variable, the regression is simple regression. And when there are two or more independent variables, the regression is said to be multiple regression. Okay. So whenever we speak about regression here, I am actually telling linear regression. Okay. So the first thing is with the help of graph, we can estimate whether linearity is satisfying, whether the variables are linear. Always remember, linearity assumption can be tested with the help of residual plots, that is taking graph with the help of software, and normality of the error term can be tested with the help of a histogram of the residuals and normal probability plots. We have two different devices, that is histogram of the residuals and normal probability plots. These two are actually the graphical devices used for ensuring linearity and normality. Remember, linearity and normality can be judged with the help of graphs. Manually, it is very, very difficult to assess. We are doing everything with the help of softwares. Okay. See, this actually represents a hypothesis. Hope you can see. Okay. The dependent variable is actually confidence. There are two independent variables here, attitude and reverse fintech socialization. You my dear friends, those who are listening to me, please remember, while using linear regression, the independent as well as dependent variables must be scale variable. You can't use nominal data. Okay, always remember. So we have a scale for attitude, that is a measurement for attitude. Reverse fintech socialization, we have a scale and we have a measurement. We have a measurement for the confidence, that is also scale. All the three variables are scale variables. Okay, what does it mean? See, here it is. Actually, this RFS refers to reverse fintech socialization. This line actually shows reverse Venn socialization can influence confidence. This is actually an option for a regression. When you are taking only reverse Venn socialization and confidence, only that part, we call it as a simple regression. Here also, attitude is going towards confidence. That means attitude can influence confidence. If we are taking only this attitude to confidence, that also becomes a simple regression. But if you are taking into account attitude and reverse Venn socialization together, the influence of attitude as well as reverse Venn socialization on the confidence of mothers, we call it as a multiple regression. Multiple regression. Okay, but you can see one more arrow here. That is also another regression. That is, feel that reverse Venn socialization can influence the attitude. Reverse Venn socialization can influence the attitude of mothers. That means when the fintech socialization is, reverse fintech socialization is higher or better, the attitude may be changed. There may be positive attitude. That's what I'm arguing. So here you can see a two-way regression or a two-way relationship. That is, reverse fintech socialization is influencing attitude and then attitude is influencing confidence. We call it as a mediation. Mediating relationship. This is a mediating relationship. That is, in between reverse Venn socialization and confidence, there is attitude. So, attitude is the reverse Venn socialization is actually influencing confidence through attitude. That is a kind of, that is what we call as mediation. Okay. See, the hypothesis, the last hypothesis actually, I'm planning to test this only, attitude and reverse Venn socialization on confidence. Since there are two independent variables and one dependent variable, we call it as a multiple regression. So the result is, we definitely will get three different tables if you are doing this analysis in SPSS. So the first table will be model summary table. When you have a model summary table, there are some important, interesting points here. One is R. R stands for correlation. You remember, if you want to do a regression analysis, the variables, the independent as well as the dependent variables should be correlated. That's significantly correlated. That's very important. Here you look, the correlation between the variables is actually 0.928. The multiple correlation is 0.928. You know that the maximum value of correlation is 1, and here the correlation is 0.928. That means there is high degree of correlation between the three variables. Okay, and then R square. R square is technically known as coefficient of determination. That is 0.861. 0.861 and adjusted R square is 0.860. These are almost similar. But when we standardize the R square, we will get adjusted R square. You can use either R square or adjusted R square, nothing wrong. Or you remember, this actually, R square actually shows if there is 1 unit change in the independent variable, 0.861 unit change in the dependent variable. That is, it shows the relationship between the change in independent variable to dependent variable. That means when there is a change in reverse Venn socialization and attitude, when there is 1 unit change in reverse Venn socialization and attitude, there will be 0.861 unit change in the confidence of mothers. That is the meaning. Okay. So while explaining the this particular table, you have to say when there is 1 unit change in reverse Venn socialization and attitude, there will be 0.861 unit change in confidence. That means these two variables, that is, these two independent variables, reverse Venn socialization as well as attitude, can predict the confidence of mothers or can significantly influence mothers' confidence to use technology. So Another table you are getting is ANOVA table. From the same test, you are getting 3 tables. So I'm explaining to the second table, that is ANOVA table. While looking at the ANOVA table, you have to look at the significance value. Here, the significance value is 0.000, which is less than 0.05. So the null hypothesis is rejected, and the alternative hypothesis is being taken into account. Okay, you remember this shows that the independent variables, reverse Vindex socialization and attitude, are significantly influencing the confidence of mothers. That's what this 0.000 is actually showing. Okay, so one more table we have in this analysis, that is coefficients table. While looking at the coefficients table, there are some interesting figures. The most interesting thing is the significance value. You look here, the both independent variables are here, attitude and reverse Vindex socialization. Significance value against these 2 independent variables are lower than 0.05. That means both these attitude and reverse Vindex socialization are actually significantly influencing the confidence. While looking at the ANOVA, we can say the model is significant, but while looking at the coefficient table, we can say whether attitude is significant, reverse Vindex socialization is significant. So we can say here, while looking at this, we can say both these are significantly influencing. Okay, then one more interesting part is the coefficients. You look at the standardized coefficients. See, standardized coefficients actually shows beta is 0.208, and in case of attitude, beta is 0.208, and RFS is 0.758. This shows the relative importance of each variable on the influence, the influence on the dependent variable. This shows RFS is having a comparatively higher value than attitude. That means RFS is more important, or reverse Vindex socialization is more important or more influencing the confidence of mothers than their own attitude. Reverse Vindex socialization is more important than the attitude of mothers in predicting or in determining the level of confidence of mothers. So in this way, we can say that this is an excellent, exceptionally good findings. Okay, this is the way by which you have to go for a multiple regression. I would like to, actually the time is running up. So it is now 7:11. Within few minutes, I will wind up. Some of the important statistical tools that are actually adopted by researchers, not the top-end researchers, the normal researchers, are being discussed. Okay. So some other tools which are to be familiarized by the researchers, according to, or for my opinion, are factor analysis. I haven't told you anything about that. And binary logistic regression method, that's a very good method. Then multivariate analysis of variance. Then mediation and moderation. Okay, these are also very, very important. And apart from these, there are so many other statistical tools in regression, especially in regression. If you read the articles written by top 1% researchers, you can see so many varieties of regressions that we are not discussing at present. So one by one, I would like to tell you exactly something about these tools. Factor analysis is actually not a hypothesis testing tool. It is actually used for, there are 2 different types of factor analysis, that is exploratory factor analysis and confirmatory factor analysis. Exploratory and confirmatory factor analysis. Okay, exploratory factor analysis is actually used for classifying the variables into different groups. Say, for example, if you have identified 30 or 40 variables with respect to a particular phenomenon, with all the 30 or 40 variables, you can go for a detailed analysis. Some of the variables you have identified may have similar features. So you have to classify them. A statistical tool which enables you to classify in a scientific manner, classify the variables into 3 or 4 or 5 factors is technically known as factor analysis. And another one is binary logistic regression. I have already told you linear regression. Linear regression has so many limitations, especially with respect to it's not the limitation of that particular regression, but from the point of view of researchers, sometimes researchers may not be able to satisfy all the conditions. Suppose if the data, at the time of testing the data, you may find that the data may not be normal. So under such a circumstance, you may be able to go for a binary logistic regression. Here, the dependent variable is classified into 2 categories. Can be like success or failure, or high satisfaction, low satisfaction, one service provider, multiple service provider, and so on. And the independent variables, nominal variables, as well as scale variables can be used as independent variables. It's a very beautiful, wonderful tool that can be adopted by researchers, especially in commerce and management. Then multivariate analysis of variance. I have told you something about analysis of variance here, where there is only one dependent variable, and the independent variable is classified into 3 or more classes. But in case of multivariate analysis, we will be able to incorporate more than one dependent variables. We will be able to include more than one dependent as well as independent variables. Together, we can test the significance. So it will enable the researcher to avoid some problems which are usually encountered at the time of analysis and presentation. Then last thing is mediation and moderation. Mediation and moderation, we are actually, we don't have any detailed discussion about that, because if you want to study about mediation and moderation, we have to have a good understanding about, detailed understanding about regression and the concept. I have already told you something about mediation, that is fintech socialization 2. Okay, we shall go back to that here. Here the RFS to confidence is a regression. It's a simple regression. Attitude to confidence is another simple regression. When you are running RFS to attitude and confidence, this is a case of mediation. Okay, we need special tools for that. And moderation is also another important tool, which is not so popularly used, but now researchers are using this tool, especially in the field of marketing, HR, and so on. Okay, so this is the time to wind up. Organizers, please, if you have some queries, please, if the participants have raised some queries, you can report it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now it's the time to Q&A session. You can put forward your queries. Sir, some questions are here in the chat box. Shall I read?
Okay, read it.
How can we quantify attitude of mother? Please explain normal distribution and central limit theorem.
Okay, it's not a single question. Actually, multiple questions are there. First thing is how to quantify mother's attitude. If the person who has raised such a question is, I think the person who has raised such a question is not much familiar about the quantitative research. Whatever it be, they too have the right to ask questions. Say, for example, if you are learning commerce or management or some other social research subjects, say we have a mechanism called scaling. And there are well-defined theories for measuring the attitude. We generally will present some statements for testing or for understanding their attitude. Say for example, if I'm raising put forward a statement like, I'm afraid of mobile phone and dealing with money while dealing with money. Say, imagine that. I'm afraid of mobile phone, using mobile phone for monetary purposes or money transactions. If this is the statement I have given, you will be provided with different options to agree or disagree with that statement. Suppose if the anchor is the person to whom I'm raising I'm giving a statement like this, what will be your answer? Hello. What will be your answer? If I'm giving a statement like this, I'm afraid of using mobile phones for money transactions. Okay, if you are not giving answer to my question, I believe you can listen to me. I'm hearing. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I also definitely will give different options for agreement or disagreement. So I will say strongly agree to a certain extent. I can't say, then disagree, strongly disagree, and so on. If you are marking strongly agree, this is actually called as a Likert scale. This kind of quantifying the value of a qualitative information is technically known as Likert scaling, where the values are given from 1 to 5. That is strongly, if you are strongly agreeing to that, I will give 5 points for that, or numerical value 5 for that. If you are agree only, then I will give only 4. I can't say is the answer, then it will be 3. Then like that, the points will go up to 1. Suppose if I have 5 different or 6 different statements like this, for, which are related to attitude or fintech attitude, then after asking all the or after marking all the responses for different statements will have different numerical values according to your degree of agreement. I will take the average. First of all, I will take the total. We call it as, if you are applying total, we call it as summated scale. If you are taking only the average, then you will be able to compare between people or respondents. So suppose if the average is 3.75, that means your degree of agreement is somewhere in between I can't answer and agree to a certain extent. Okay, that's a way by which we are quantifying qualitative information. Okay, then.
So next question,
Okay.
Is there any relationship between cluster analysis and cohort analysis?
Cluster analysis and
Cohort, C-O-H-O-R-T.
Okay, according to the person who actually dealing with cohort, what is this cohort analysis? Please explain that. Tell how you are actually doing cohort analysis. Please let the person speak about that.
The question is asked by Mr. Rahul Upadhyay. Can you please answer the question?
Rahul, please. I'm speaking so because different people use different names, and cohort analysis is not a normal statistical tool used for analyzing the data. It's definitely used by some people, but the application differs. Actually, okay, whatever it be, we don't want to waste time. Whatever it be, I would like to tell something about cluster analysis. Say, for example, if you are studying about the financial capability of people in Kerala, we can, after conducting the study, we will be able to classify the population, that is, classify the respondents into different groups on the basis of their level of income, or on the basis of their occupation, or on the basis of their education, and so on. Normally, we believe that lower the level of education, the capability will be less, or the financial capability of people actually depends on the level of education. So, based on the level of financial education, we classify the sample into different groups, and a detailed investigation into the characteristics of the sample is being analyzed to predict the feature of these groups in the population. That's what cluster analysis is meant. Okay, thank you.
So, next question. What are the reasons why data is not normal?
Okay, it's definitely a practical and interesting question. Almost all researchers are faced with the problem of non-normality. So many issues are there, but the main thing is that data tend to be normal when the samples are drawn randomly. Randomness of the sample is the essential condition to become normality, or to attain normality of the sample. In many cases, researchers can't attain this particular condition. It's mainly because, say for example, if you are studying about the capital market investors in Kerala, or capital market investors in India, actually, who is going to give you a complete list of all investors? Nobody can give. That means the population is actually infinite. Under such a circumstance, it is practically impossible to have a random sample. But if the researcher tries to go for some scientific methods of collecting sample, even if it is not perfectly random, there are possibilities for attaining normality when the sample size is comparatively bigger. But duplicating the sample size or sample will not help a researcher to attain normality. Okay, then.
Sir, please explain MANOVA. Is MANOVA and ANOVA together need to test?
Okay, actually, there is no need to test ANOVA and MANOVA together. When I have already told you, MANOVA is a test when you want to test more than two dependent or two independent variables together. Whenever we are testing ANOVA and MANOVA, there will be some independent variables and some dependent variables. Say, for example, in my case, I have confidence. That is the dependent variable. Confidence is my dependent variable. And if I'm taking age of mother as an independent variable, there is only one independent variable, but that independent variable is classified into 3 or 4 groups. When the independent variable is classified into more than 2 subgroups, and if I want to test the mean difference, I have to go for analysis of variance. Okay, when there are only 2 subdivisions for the independent variable, we can use T. When there are more than 2 subdivisions for the independent variable, we can go for this ANOVA. But in case of MANOVA, you can use more than one independent variables along with a particular dependent variable. You can add more independent variables. Say, for example, you take into account age of child, or the income of the family, or the income earner of the family, age, and so on. When you have more than one independent variables or more than one dependent variables, for testing the difference between means, we have to go for MANOVA. Both together will not give you any additional advantage. Okay, thank you. Then next.
So one more question is there.
Okay.
Skewness and kurtosis is an apt test for checking normality. Is skewness and kurtosis is an apt test for checking normality?
Okay. Actually, while dealing with the quality of a distribution, definitely skewness and kurtosis are checked. But we are actually, if you are doing analysis with the help of statistical software, we have a one sample case test which takes into account everything, which is more scientific than looking at the skewness and kurtosis. So that's why we are using one sample case test. Definitely, skewness and kurtosis speaks up us about the quality or the characteristics of the sample distribution. Okay, but that alone is not sufficient. Okay.
So one more question is there.
Okay, no problem.
Please explain central limit theorem.
Okay. Central limit theorem very simply says that central limit theorem says that when you add more and more samples, or when you have a large sample, the sample characteristics, there is a tendency for attaining the population characteristics. That means when you add more and more samples, there is a possibility for attaining normality, and there is a possibility for closeness of the sample characteristics with that of the population characteristics. That means when you have a large set of data, large sample size randomly selected, then whatever you find with the help of sample can be used for predicting the population. Okay.
Sir, some more questions are from YouTube. Okay. Next question is there any chance of getting a not normal data even if samples are drawn randomly?
Definitely. In some cases, even if samples are drawn randomly, there are possibilities for getting non-normal data under some circumstances. One thing is the population is not normal. Population may not be not at all normal. And another is while selecting sample from such a population, if you are taking only few sample, there is no possibility for getting a normal normality. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time, presence, and your patience. As there is no more question in the chat box, we are moving on. As a token of our love and respect, we are distributing Certificate of Appreciation to our resource person. Now I invite Dr. Anu Anthony, IQSC Coordinator, to give away the certificate to Dr. Anthony Josephs. Ma'am, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Anna ma'am. Thank you so much. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. I invite Mr. Jijo P. John, Faculty of Management Department, for vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Hello, everyone. I am audible?
Yes.
Good evening, Manado. We have to the end of the 4th day of the 5-day national level webinar series on research methods and techniques. It is indeed my pleasure to express gratitude to all those who are virtually present here for the successfully ongoing webinar series organized by Postgraduate Department of Commerce and Postgraduate Department of Management Studies of Christian College, in association with its research club and IQSC in collaboration with Indian Accounting Association and we are equipped today the nuance of tools and techniques of data analysis. On this occasion, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our research person, Dr. Anthony Joseph K, President, Indian Accounting Association Alappuzha branch, who is also an associate professor at SB College, Chennai. On behalf of Christian College, I thank you, sir, for your enlightening keynote address.
Thank you so much.
Also, let me thank our dear Principal, Father Joshi Chiranguri CMI, for extending his support and guidance. Thank you, Father. As the head of the Departments of Commerce and Management, Dr. Varghese Anthony, sir, and Professor Thomas Matthew, sir, has expressed their energy and enthusiasm for the successful conduct of the webinar. Thank you, dear teachers. The words of gratitude is also extended to the IQSC coordinators, Dr. Sushil George Joseph and Dr. Anu Anthony of the event. Thank you, dear teachers. Last not the least, I thank all the participants from the different parts of the world for your presence and cooperation. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jijo sir. Thank you so much. Our today's sessions come to an end. Thank you all for your valuable time and presence. This is me, Linomina Matthew, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.